Hello, my friends. Welcome to the third season of Brand Your Dream Show. And today we're talking with Sofia Reis, transition coach, and she will tell you everything about how to move from one-to-one coaching to group coaching and increase your revenue, make your life easier. And hi, Sofia, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm okay. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Tell us more about what you do.
So, I help coaches to smoothly transition from their one to one practice to a group coaching business, whilst embracing the power of group dynamics with confidence, simplicity, and playfulness. You will become the group coach and the fearless business leader you want to be. So, this is what I do. I support them with building, launching, and achieving their online group coaching signature programs, and also helping them develop exponential growth mindset and take
Uh,
inspired, imperfect action.
I absolutely love it. So I think that, it's really important for many coaches who work one to one and really exhaust themselves with this kind of practices to understand that life can be actually easier. Many times it can work almost on automation because when you have group program, you can automate your marketing, you can actually make launches easier. I know your program inside out, and I know that you perfect it every single year. And tell me more about your last year because you told me that you improve your life dramatically with mind valley and all the things.
Yeah, last year was really transformational, Eve, for me. Um, it started at the beginning of the year. Like I was asking, I was asking myself, I was in this impasse. What is missing in my life? Um, just like it was going over and over and over my head. What's missing? Was there's something missing? I can't put my finger on it. There's something missing. What is it? And as I'm thinking that, I come across a certification that I really wanted to do with Ever Coach by Mind Valley, life
Mhm.
coaching certification. And in February, I enrolled. There were 4 months of it. I completed the certification. I went to Tallinn. I connected with so many amazing coaches all around the world. And especially in Tallinn, when I got there, I was like, this is my element. Oh my God,
Mhm.
all these people. It was amazing. And then I took a break to reflect after the certification, which direction I wanted to go. And it was quite good. And at that time, as I'm reflecting, I've joined another community of amazing coaches with positive intelligence. And
Mhm.
I'm in currently doing the PQ coach certification. So,
That's fantastic.
so much has changed also in my private life, right? We've been shut for 2 years with COVID. Last year I had four trips. I love traveling and I love connecting with different cultures and different people. So we traveled to four different places around Europe. It was amazing.
Mhm.
The connect, like even with my kids, personal relationship has improved. It was just amazing. I haven't got words. And one of my passions from little, as we surfaced last year too, which is painting.
Mhm.
I start painting like mental. Like I've joined some art classes, and I'm just doing my paintings all the time. It's just relaxing and it helps me.
I love
So
it. I
yeah,
love it.
so much has happened.
I remember when we met, you were completely different. And that's an interesting story itself, which we're not going to dive really, really deep, but just to explain the transformation. Because, well, people who don't know you, they will see you for the first time and they will know that you are this relaxed, beautiful, gorgeous woman. And that's what they will
Oh.
think. You were gorgeous all the time, by the way. But when we met, you did work in corporate or just transition from the corporate career
Yes.
In the UK. And for Portuguese woman who is really loud speaking, amazing, bright, that was completely different persona. I remember these photos of
Yeah.
you, which is like looking just from Shutterstock images, like very serious in a suit and all those kind of things. And when we were working on your brand and add this amazing colors and all this kind of things, you suddenly just shine up and become so super bright. It was amazing transformation, right?
Well, I had an amazing creative director called Eve. So, yes, you just picked up all my little quirkies and little things for my brand, and you just transformed it. And it really aligns with what I'm doing, still currently doing, helping people transitioning from the 9 to 5
Mm-hmm.
to into the coaching business, um, group coaching business. But yes, when I quit my job back in 2015, I was very
Mm-hmm.
corporate. So my language, my persona, my personality
Mm-hmm.
changed throughout the years. And we're in 2023. This has been quite a few years. I'm not very good at maths, but so it's really interesting to actually notice my transformation,
Mm-hmm.
right? From the beginning till now. And I have people telling me, oh my God, you're so different. What have you done? What pill have you taken? And I was like, it's all to do with finding yourself, discovering who you really are,
Yeah.
and what you're passionate about doing. And that's it. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. See, what I wanted to ask, because you're one of the few people with who I built the brand, or for who I built the brand, and I think we built it in 2018, right?
Yes.
Somewhere around this. And
Yeah.
it's quite a long time ago. And you're still using the style and brand and things like
Yes.
this consistently, which is, I'm super proud of you because this is what I suggest to all
Yeah.
my clients. Just stick to it, move on, and your brand will mature and it will grow. And you're
Yes.
doing it. It's, to
Yeah.
be honest, a
And
rare
and and
case.
it's exactly that. It grew
Mm-hmm.
with me. If you hadn't been so intuitive, empathic when we worked together, maybe that wouldn't happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? You listened to what I said. You listened and you pushed me to the limit with everything, even the things that I was hiding, right? Um, and I loved it so much that it became a way of living. I've got
Exactly.
chills now. Yeah.
Thank you so much for closing curtains. So, because I now move to the visibility from the wonderful topic of your brand, and I want to see you. So, why I was asking you all this question, apart of I want to praise myself, of course, I actually want to understand one important thing. Do you think that your visibility impacted your business?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I would like to talk about a very important distinction here,
Hmm.
visibility and invisibility.
Right.
Because when I started, I felt very invisible
Hmm.
because I came out of corporate, left my job, you know, and it was all these people online. everywhere, networking events everywhere. So many people, I wouldn't even know where to turn, right? And even when I went to networking events, I was still feeling invisible,
Mhm.
right? And so, there's that transition from invisibility to visibility when you're running your business. And, within that transition, you have to really discover first who you are,
Mhm.
what do you want, right? And then and what you want to focus on, what's your goals, what's your ambition, right? Um, but yes, when I started, it took a while to get visible. We have to work
Yeah.
on our visibility,
Mhm.
right? And we have to, because like, how do you want others to see us? How do we talk with others? Right? So all these questions come up when you're trying to be visible online. And
Yeah.
it's not easy and it takes time. And I want everybody to know it takes time, right? It takes
Exactly.
time and and give yourself pause and have a break and reflect on these questions. Who do you want to be perceived as? Right? Look into your personality. What's your strength? What attracts other people to you as well? So,
Mhm.
and really embody that, right? Because then there's that confidence.
Yeah.
You have to feel confident when you become visible,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and it's
So,
also, I think, a lot about mindset because what you
yeah,
said, it's like really gradually you move from where you were and you like releasing that old shells, old skin or something like this behind. And it takes time depending how long you actually leaving the skin behind you. I mean, I'm talking about snakes. Nobody likes snakes, but a good idea of the old skin of the snake because they're just removing it every spring, I guess. So for many people, or living cocoon, let's speak about butterflies. It's more beautiful association. So
not unicorns then. Yeah,
I'm not sure what unicorns leave behind. So, so that's a different type of transition. So speaking about this transition and transformation, I definitely saw you in this transition stage, and I know that you are fearless. I know how much you were talking about this transition. You were like super strong, and then boom, pandemic started. And I
yeah,
know that it hit you really, really strongly because you suddenly had to do everything for everyone. And I was
yeah,
asking you, like, Sophia, where are you? You're like, I don't know.
yeah,
So here's an interesting thing what I want to ask you in this context. I know that you are capable to be visible. I know that you are capable to show up in tremendous ways, and you are extremely organized, which I absolutely love about you. But authenticity, it is something which, like, you manage, I think, to transform even further with this pandemic into some different kind of way. Because I saw like the plain transition from a person who moved from corporate to coaching to site building to group program
yeah,
building and like gradually move towards entrepreneur, and then you stop in that pandemic moment because you were clearly overwhelmed, and then you
yeah.
move up with all this kind of transformation. So it was like a different level of the transformation, extremely beautiful. So in this context, I want to ask you about authenticity. How did you find this new level of your real authentic voice? Because I hear you, I see you, I know that this is refreshed Sophia and I recognize it, but I want to know more about that.
Yeah. So when COVID hit, it hit. Like basically, it slapped me in the face big time. And my priorities changed. my priorities changed. And I start
Mhm.
reflecting, what do I actually want from life? Right? Um, I had the kids at home. They had to be homeschooled. I started the COVID saying to myself and out loud, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a teacher, right? And then I had to shift that completely because my kids needed me,
Mhm.
right? The COVID hit me because that's when I start thinking about myself. What's important? What matters in life, right? I might get a bit emotional, but I'm not going to. But it was actually, I can see now the positive effect of COVID,
Mhm.
right? For me, it was positive. For me, it made me see that actually I'm a teacher. Actually, I help my son with maths, right? And I help him to have a positive grade.
Mhm.
Um, the relationship that we had in the same environment closed in a flat. We were still living in a flat,
Mhm.
with a dog.
Mhm.
All that proximity got us together, closer together, right? Um, I had to be strong for them. I had to be strong for my family. So my choice then was to say, okay, my business can wait. It's not important right now,
Mhm.
right? And and really that is it. It's just it really made me reflect what's important and what do I wanted in that particular moment.
Mhm.
And I start listening also. Listen, COVID, we're all closed in, and I reflected a lot, right? There was
Mhm.
nothing else to do.
Mhm.
So this is really important because one about mindset and everything, but um, there are a lot of work that one person can do with mindset, but journaling, like painting, that's when I actually discovered that my bug was still there, right? Because my son was doing some art things and I helped him, right? And I was like, wait a minute, it's still there, it's still present, it's still
Mhm.
alive, it's not hidden, right? Let's explore this further. So this is what happened.
I love it because it's like I'm guiding people towards understanding of the transition and transformation because I think that we often missing the idea of transition and transformation because now we're speaking about real changes in the mindset and real important things such as reflecting, such as remembering your own talents. Because I remember how much you love journaling. When you say
Yeah.
journaling, guys, it's not just journaling. Sophia had amazing, huge kind of journal with some leather thing on it. I mean, like she's a serious journaler. So it's a big deal for her. Now, thinking about art, I remember when we were working on your brand, you were like drawing little things like, Ikigai and all the things. And you had so much joy with that that it was contagious. People were like, "Oh my God, there's a beautiful drawing!" And Sophia just makes something like in 5 seconds, but it was
Yeah.
so much joy in it, and she didn't take it like a serious thing. So the talent is always finding the way, and this transition, which you come through, going through, I think, because it's a process always
Yeah.
I think impacting these decisions and the programs which you create. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. It impacted big time, and in a way that I start looking at things in a simpler way. I start listening to what the clients wanted as well. Like I've got like clients that I just want as simple as possible, and I said, yeah, that's possible. Um, I start focusing more on one direction. Like in the beginning, at
Mm-hmm.
least with me, in the beginning of my business, I was like, oh, I've got package A and then package B and package C,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and this is where I got lost,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just too much. It's just too much. I mean, yes, I started with web development. It's still present, but that part can just be moved to
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Um, One thing that I start noticing with all my clients since the beginning is the need for coaching, the need
Mm-hmm.
for guidance, right? Because they came to me like, oh, I don't know where to start, and I'm confused, and I don't know what to focus on. And this is all mindset. This is all coach. You need to have a coach that guides you in the direction that you want to be. And then I start looking at my life as well, and I was like, oh my God, all throughout my life, I've guided these people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then that's when the coaching and working with coaches as well. I've always worked with
Mm-hmm.
coaches, 90%, 95%
Yeah.
even. That's when the bug for coaching started to appear. So,
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I was very not satisfied working with many coaches, to be honest. I mean, not to criticize coaches, they were just not often right for me. They were good coaches, but that didn't work for me many times because what I realized that when you choose coach, you need to understand what experiences in life they had because that set up the mark of their judgment. So they can judge the situation from one perspective, or if the experience were much, much deeper, then they judge from the different height. And as they judge the situation, not you, but
yeah.
situation from the different height, they can
Mhm.
guide you differently. So
Absolutely.
people with
100%.
extremely deep
Yeah.
and transformational and tragic, sometimes real tragic kind of experiences can give you the top level of understanding. So what
Mhm.
I did personally this year, last year, not this year, it was very interesting because it's the first time when I ask somebody to mentor me. This person was not a coach, though he was trying to thinking in this direction. So he's good as natural coach, so to say. I saw it in him. I am good enough as a coach, as an expert who guide to help him to become a good coach. But what I choose him for is for way how he think and for his experience. I knew where I want to go, but I needed his perspective. So we were working for a month or couple of months or something like this, and it was the most transformational experience for me, uh, which I now understand where I was wrong. So when we choose a coach, when we choose an expert, we really, I think, need to understand what kind of level of judgment this person have, not really credentials, because credentials are also important. So we need to understand the
Yes.
theory, we need to
Mhm.
understand the practicality of the industry. But personal experience, this reflection aspect which you were mentioned, the understanding, like, say you reprioritize your life because you start like reflecting and understand what is important for you, for your family. You were always talking about your why because your why was your family, your kids, and things like that, and you act according to your why, so which was absolutely perfect.
Yes.
And again, creativity was one of the important values for you, and you turn into your value and things like that. So this story tell to someone, hopefully, to recognize the coach in you, which will be a perfect coach for them. Because I
Yeah.
think now I'm just rethinking how to hire a perfect coach. You need to hear their story. You need to
Yeah.
understand what they've been through and just relate to that. Is it my story? No, kinda look like that. Okay, let's talk. you know, Something
Yeah.
like
And
this.
and stories are so important, um, in storytelling. And you taught me
Mm,
that. People need to understand also the difference between a coach and a mentor,
yes.
right? And this is what the certification that I did last year really opened my eyes to,
Mm,
because a coach is somebody that is there to listen, to be present, to guide you, but not to push you,
mhm,
right? To direct you, but you already have that direction within you,
mhm,
right? And a good coach is one that just, I mean, look, Rich Liffin, right?
mhm,
Stays like a huge percentage of his coaching sessions are in
mhm.
silence. It's
Yeah.
the coachee that is doing the introspection, the reflection, and coming up to what they want. The
Mhm,
coach is just like balancing it for them. And this is my motto too. This is what, this is what I facilitate, because
mhm,
I believe that you already have the capacity, the ability, and the strength, the bravery to
mhm.
do it if you so wish to do it. But the problem is that we always have those saboteurs around our heads telling us, no, 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 don't do that.
Mhm.
Don't even think about it. It's just too hard. So, and this is what we have to constantly fight and keep tamed, is this little gremlins, this inner voice that tells us that we can't do it. And I'm
Mhm.
not different from anybody else. I'm not different from anybody else. I also had, in the past and still currently, my saboteurs playing me up. Just
Yeah,
saying.
but we just need to understand how to deal with them and just make them
Yeah.
less important. And speak from our sage. Yeah, I'm also learning from the
Yes.
same program.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it makes so much sense. I've been talking about gremlins for years,
Hmm. Yeah,
but now I actually have a name for them.
right.
Right? Now I know, yeah, like the perfectionist, I'm a stickler through and
Mm,
through. I've always been since little,
mhm,
right? Because my judge was telling me, no, you can't do this if it's not perfect. When you say I'm organized, it's because
mm,
I'm a stickler,
mhm,
right? This simple as that. Um, and like that one, many other saboteurs that I have, that we all
mhm,
have, and we always will have. That's the thing, right?
mhm,
We can tame them, we can keep them sharp, 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 but we can't really get rid of them because,
mhm.
um, you know, otherwise, unless we like can live in 100% sage mode,
Yeah.
which I don't think it's
Mhm.
possible. You tell me, I don't know. Yeah,
So I want to ask you about this, like get back to business with
yeah,
all that what we discussed. Let's say majority of people who doing one-to-one and really struggling, they do make money, they have some clients, but they waste a lot of time. They really spend a lot of energy for every client, and the only way they can scale their business, they basically can have more clients, but then the 24 hours a day is actually a problem for them because they can
yes.
take more. So
And
the
especially
scaling
if they're
is
still in the 9 to 5,
Ex
right?
9 to 5, yeah. So not
Yeah.
24 hours. It's 24 hours minus 8 and minus road and minus things. So
Yes.
they have pretty much 4 hours a day and weekend. So we understand that they don't have much time. But what do you think stops them from moving towards a group program? What saboteurs they have
So
about that? That's a good question for you.
self-doubt.
Hmm.
Well, first of all, the coaches that I know, they're still in the 9 to 5.
Hmm.
They are relying on a paid job.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, oh no, I'm not going to start my own business because, I've got this paid job and, I need the money basically to live my life, right? So that's the first one. They're avoiding certain things. The avoider is a big one on the
Hmm.
9 to 5 coaches. Um, some of the coaches that are still in their jobs and they're running one-to-one practices,
Mhm.
they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Because if you're like 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or whatever, you come home, you still have to cook and you still have to take care of the kids and you still have to take care of the husband. And then you sit in the sofa and you just collapse. There is no time for nothing else,
Mhm.
right? So if you have a one-to-one in the evening with somebody, you're exhausted and you cannot do coaching when you're exhausted because it's not a good vibrational frequency, basically, right? So that's why I'm really passionate about showing them how they can explore group program. They can have a group of 5, cozy, comfortable, small group, amazing, right?
Mhm.
A group of 5 on a weekend or in a day of the week that they can um, focus on the group and
Mhm.
engage with the group, be present for the group, instead of having 5 one-to-one clients
Yeah.
during a week. What? No. So this is if I've got nothing against one-to-one, and I
Mhm.
understand that a lot of people need that one-to-one interaction. Okay.
Mhm.
I've got nothing against one-to-one, and I've got one-to-one. So
Mhm.
it's not just group, right? But in the group dynamics is different. The
Yeah.
group module is different from the growth module. The growth module is what you use in a one-to-one coaching session.
Mhm.
The group module is what you use in a group. So the interaction is different. There's
Yeah.
more playfulness. There's more, um, you know, shouting out different solutions and openness in a
Mhm.
group, I think, right?
Yeah.
Than in a one-to-one. And that's what I love about it.
Somebody
Um,
recently asked me about one-to-one coaching. The price was like £3,600 for 3 months. And for group coaching with Visibility Gym, there was like, somewhere around £700 for 14 days. But that's a group program and things like this. And they're like, but that's just a group program. Why it costs that much? It's just 14 days. I'm like, because you will get from there absolutely different dynamic, absolutely different results. And in fact, you also will get connections. This is what many people missing in group coaching because that's a feature which they can get. Because when people work together, they build this connection automatically. It's like better than networking, you know? So they can
yeah,
build clients,
exactly.
they can build connections and all the things.
And another thing that is different at group coaching that I'm just thinking about right now, I just want to say it, is in a group, all the members, all the
Mm,
people in that group are going towards the same goal,
yeah.
right? In a one-to-one, you can have one person that wants a specific goal, or that and then you can have another one completely different, right? But in the group, it's the same goal. So you want a happiness, or you want freedom, financial freedom, or
Hmm.
and my particular group program is so they can have a group program. This is what I
Hmm.
mean. So it's the same goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the difference as well.
And that's how they lift each other up. Because I remember when we were doing Visibility Gym, the first or second one, people were supporting each other so much. Despite it's a part of the program, we recommend to support each other, but people were willingly obviously support each other, and the friendships, the level of energy in the group is really uplifting itself. So
Yeah.
people are
And
moving up
that's what I
just with
love.
that energy. Yeah, it's
Ah,
really really was to get into group program. I love group programs, to be honest. I mean, I've been in
yeah.
both dynamics. I love group programs a lot. And you're right. I think like working with one-to-one and group programs probably shouldn't be treated as coaching. It's like different type of experience completely, like
Yeah.
group coaching and like one-to-one coaching. I mean, just a different type of coaching, like completely different. So I want to ask you, from your perspective, by the way, which one you like for yourself?
What do you mean? The
Or
the
group
group
coaching or one-to-one coaching? What do
group?
you often prefer? Group.
I'm a groupie. I love groups. I love listen.
Yeah.
I've run local networking events and
Hmm.
groups in UK when I was there.
Hmm.
I look back in my life and I'm best when I'm surrounded by people,
Hmm.
right? I said to you, like in Tallinn, when I went to the Mind Valley, to the Ever Coach by Mind Valley event,
Hmm.
I was, I had chills in my body because
Yeah.
I was surrounded by different minded people. It's not even like minded, it's
Hmm.
different minded people, right?
Hmm.
And just knowing their stories and just chat with them and converse and finding out more about them, right? This is what I love,
Hmm.
right? Um,
It's amazing.
so yeah, so you can see my energy just change completely.
So let's dive into the professional tips and advice for people who want to transition from one-to-one coaching to group coaching, because I know you have tons of recommendations for them, but let's stick to three most important ideas.
Okay. So, for those that want to transition from the one to one to a group coaching, the first thing I would say, who are you talking to? Like, really listening to what they say. And this is really important because, like, when I built my first group program, I was like, I didn't even listen
Hmm.
to what they wanted to say. I just like, I assumed
Hmm.
that they needed this, right? So this is really important. What is your niche? That's the second one. So the first one is the audience, obviously. You need to know who you're talking to, what their pain points, what do they really want, truly want,
Hmm.
right? And then give them what they want. It's just simple as that. And ask yourself questions like, who do I want to be? Well, look at yourself like as if you're like 80 years old already, and then what people saying about me and how do I want to my life to show up, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's really important because a lot of people they just pretend to be something that they really doesn't align with them.
Hmm.
And that transpires, that reflects, right? So even when you're like pretending to be somebody, and I've been there. When I
Hmm.
left corporate, I was pretending to be somebody that I wasn't, right? So I understand that. Um, and the consequence of that was that I was attracting the wrong people, basically.
Hmm.
There is a process of transitioning from one to one to group dynamics. And
Hmm.
this is what I coach and mentor about, right? The first, I've got a 5-step process for it. And the first thing that we look at is which are your saboteurs that
Hmm.
are stopping you and holding you back. My saboteur was the stickler, the hyperachiever, right? The pleaser,
Hmm.
right? And you have it too. I'm not saying you, Eve, but the
I
person
have.
that is listening.
I'm hyperachiever. I know what my saboteurs. Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
And they, you need to identify them first,
Hmm.
and then you have to lean onto their strength because these saboteurs are strong,
Yeah.
right? There are some strengths that you need to lean onto it and evolve. And this is what I teach is that that's five-step process when I'm helping others to build the group program. It's build your mindset, build your pillars, build your content, build your launch, and then build your tribe.
Hmm.
And these 5 steps is what I've learned since I started, from the
Mhm.
first group program that I put out till now. And there's nothing else.
Mhm.
And it can be as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Simplicity is my thing.
I love the story that you gave me, the transition transformation story, and we dive into 5 steps to sum it up. I absolutely love it because I know that for many people who want transformation, it's often sold like in a very artificial way, like, 7 figures business, let's build this, that. And that's an end result without any deconstruction, which is not necessarily true unless you know that that person went through the journey and through the story which to which you can relate. And giving you an example, if somebody just inherited money from their grandfather and built like $1 million empire or $5 million empire because they inherited 5 millions, that's probably different stories than mine. Unless I have another grandfather with 5 millions or something. So it's really depend on the story and the authentic story. And I think your story is incredibly authentic and right. And I know that you can teach. I know that you are a part of the gremlins, but you are very organized, really. And it's very important to have a person who help you to build the structure. And this person is amazingly organized and systematic. So it's not just like, yeah, build the system, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
build the system, here are all your tools. That's what Sophia is all
yeah,
about.
it's my brain is just weird like that, you know. I see little atoms, they all link together. And
Yeah,
it's like this goes here and that goes there, and it's weird.
exactly.
And it's probably a
It,
disease, I don't know. But
yeah, it's very typical for intuitive thinkers, which is like very rare type, but that's why I love intuitive thinkers. So you are one of them, I know. So what I want to ask, how people can connect with you, because really, if somebody resonates with your story, this is a time to connect with Sophia. So Sophia, how people can connect with you?
so if you're transitioning from your 9 to 5 to coaching or any kind of service based business, you want an online business, if you transition from your one-to-one practice to a group dynamics um, module, um, let's have a conversation. Let's chat and see, you know, explore it. Let's explore the possibilities that there is with group programs. And you can contact me on increaseyourSocialReach.com/contact and just book a call and let's have a chat. You know, just a really honest, straightforward chat. I want to know your vision. I want to
Mhm.
know. You know, I don't normally say like I'm a a vision builder, and I am. You know, I wanted to be a designer of some sort, and this is what I do. With your help.
Mhm.
So
It's
let's chat.
amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much for this interview, Sophia.
Thank you, darling.